Welcome back. In this tutorial, we're gonna learn about arrays in Java. Arrays are used to store multiple values of the same data type in a single variable. They are containers that can hold a fixed number of elements, and each element in the array can be accessed using an index. Let's start learning the basic syntax of creating an array. Data type. This is the note I want from you to understand it well and write it down. Two angled brackets refers to the array. Here we start with the array name equal to new data type, and here we specify the array size. And of course we close and end the line with a semicolon. This is the basic syntax of the array. How to create an array in Java. Let's take an example of an array of type integers. So the data type would be int array. You can see it's the data type is an int. The angled brackets here, and here we specify the array name. I'll name it as numbers array equal new. This is the new keyword, and that creates for us the array. And here we specify again the data type, and we specify the size of the array. Let me start with an array, creating an array with 5 boxes. So we created an array of type integers that can hold 5 elements. Now, how to start filling this array? How to store values in the array? In order to access and store the data, store variables in the array, we start with the name of the array, numbers array, and here we specify the index. The index represents the position of an element within the array. It's an integer value that starts from 0 and goes up to the size of the array -1. Each element in the array is associated with a unique index. To store values in the array at the first index, we start with 0, not 1, it's 0. The first index, I am filling the first box in this array. At index 0, I am filling it with number, for example, 10. The second box in the array is accessed by 1, and I'm filling it with 20. And so on. I am filling this array with the numbers. Numbers array, index 3 equal to 40. And numbers array at index 4 equal to 50. Now, as I told you, the value of the index starts from 0 and go through the size of the array -1. So the size of the array 5 -1 is 4, so the maximum index we can reach is number 4. So we start with 0 and we end with 4, which is 5 -1. Remember that the index starts from 0, so the first element is at index 0 and the second element is an index 1, and so on. Now let's try to access the elements in the array and print them. Let's start with system.out.println, and I'll start typing with the element at index 0, and I'll give the value and call the array at index 0. This is how we access the array. It's similar to how we fill it. Here I am assigning the number, the value 10 to the first index. Here I am getting and calling the array and getting the value of the element stored in the index 0. Here I am calling it, okay? Let's run the program. And here we go. The element at index 0 is equal to 10. And this is the value of the first element in this array. Congratulations, guys. We learned how to create the arrays in Java, the syntax of creating the arrays. We learned how to store values in the array. We learned about index in the array. And we learned how to access and print elements of an array.